All right. I see Jeff asked a question. Jeff, you want to mute and ask it on video?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Are you seeing short sales from banks yet in regards to these assets that keep getting pushed down the can? I used to do a ton of that stuff, and I know that eventually the banks have to take the hickey and move on, or their loan limits get messed with, or their deposit limits have to get screwed with. Somewhere there's a point where they have to break, and that's coming. When do you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So to clarify, when a regional or local bank takes, and maybe possibly big banks, when they take a foreclosure, they have to hold 20% amount of that foreclosure in reserves. If a bank's making 10 to 15% on their money, that's hard. And so that's going to accumulate. They're going to start selling for less than what they owe. I haven't seen any data on that yet. The data from foreclosures that I see, they're still just keeping them, hoping that someone will come and buy them. But that was a great time last time that was the case back in 12, 13. But I haven't
I'm
seen any
talking.
data to answer your question.
I sold a lot of REOs for banks
Yeah.
back in the early 90s. And at one time, we would get tapes of properties, and a tape would be 1,200 properties, and it would be houses, condos, apartments, all kinds of stuff all over the country. But then they changed that in the next millennium bug. They changed that to where BlackRock and Chase and all these companies used to get, now what used to go to investors now are going to BlackRock only or Chase,
Yeah.
and they
It's
disseminate
frustrating.
those assets. And so that's why I'm asking if there's been anything you've seen that might have said, hey, they're starting to push this out to well-known self-storage guys or well-known apartment guys.
I know. So there was a very large, you're in Arlington, right?
Yep.
There's a very large Texas RV and boat facility owner that is no longer in business because he got a little too aggressive. His McLennan County facility got foreclosed on today, at the courthouse. I think he had 38 facilities, over like $160 million worth of facilities,
Wow.
and he's no longer in business anymore. Man, I've tried to find the banker. I know one of the bankers. I know the banker for the McLennan County one, but I was trying to find the ones in the DFW, the ones that actually have tenants, and just wouldn't. I couldn't even get a call back. And who knows? Maybe they have one guy, that's one company buying all of them. But yeah, it's a lot easier to make money when banks are taking a hickey on things than us trying to squeeze in some profit in their overlending. If that
Well,
makes
they have insurance, and so they have some kind of back end savings deal. If they take a haircut, which a lot of my lenders at the time, we were selling stuff 50 cents on the dollar. And it
Yeah,
was without a blink, they wanted it off their books because the Fed shut down their loan limit scenarios. And so
yeah,
we see that. I haven't seen anything yet that tells me that. And I'm asking every exec I know that might know somebody. My brother runs $1 billion worth of loans that are foreclosures, but he won't tell me crap. I'm telling you, those guys are tight lipped. And
yeah.
so there's only a certain way of getting into that. And there's a very minute circle in that deal.
Wow. Okay. I do hear of banks approaching some of the operators that they know to take over some of these assets. And so maybe they're doing that first before, once they exhaust that solution, I guess is when they'll open it up. Yeah. Uh, for short sales or other ways. Okay.
And Travis is the guy in Arlington that you were talking about.
I don't want to say anything, but it's a
Okay.
Texas-based RV and boat facility. They're all around you. That's that. But I don't think they're available anymore. So
Talk more.
Wow.
We'll talk more.
Awesome. Scott, go ahead.
When you talked about construction costs, 40 to $50, that's not ground up, right? You're talking about expansion, right?
yeah, that's like an expansion for like real basic drive aisle or drive up
Okay.
aisle, real basic
Right.
expansions.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
I
if
would
it's
say, yeah,
ground
like a
up,
three-story. Last time I got a bid for one of our, we ended up selling it, but a three-story was like $120 a foot with AC. The one I was referring was the one we just did in Waxahachie, Texas, which is a small town outside of DFW, and our facilities in the ETJ. So we just basically built it without getting any permits because you don't have to there.
yeah, because I was gonna say even ground up single story is probably at least 80 to 90, right?
I would probably in a major metropolitan area. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can have detention ponds. You're probably gonna have to do concrete gates, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hey, I've been tempted to use an AI for calling because I do emails, texting, ringless voicemails, and all the same stuff you do. I've
Yeah,
been tempted to bring in the AI. I'm just worried that somebody would be listening to, okay, this is not a real person and hang up. And some of them are pretty good,
yeah.
but it sounds like you had some success with that, right? With the
I
AI.
don't think we haven't been doing it long enough to say it's been successful. We definitely are trying and seeing, and most of it's going back to what I said to him. It's just like, man, not a lot of capital out there, liquid capital. So we're trying to find the
Right.
capital that is out there.
Interesting, but cool. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott. I see here Bob asked in the chat, how long did it take to build a good script to raise capital on storage?
Yeah, I'd say this. You get really good at raising capital when you've created a good reputation in town. So when you have data saying, hey, this is what I've done in the past, you can get on the Central Appraisal District and look that we actually did own this property. We sold it. We bought it for this and we're selling it for this. It's more of a reputation thing. I would say with storage, the biggest issue is everyone is excited to hear about your storage pitch. But then if you get too complicated and you start saying things like, yeah, we can, because of the Jobs Act of 2017, we can we can accelerate the 5 and 15-year depreciable items from on IRS Form 139. If you say stuff like that, you're going to lose them, right? And so all they want to know is where their money's going to go. How safe is it? When are they going to get it back? And when do distributions start? Because I'm actually a data nerd. I like to look at data and figure out what's really going on. And I've learned that I overcomplicate things mostly. Once you can get to a point where you can hire someone who is actually really good at communicating complex situations, then I highly recommend hiring that person for an investor relations role.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully, I
Yeah,
answered that question well.
definitely start building your authority, your track record, or partner with someone that has a good track record would be the other way to shortcut that. All right, so Ivan, hold on real quick, Samit. Let me answer Ivan's question here first. Do you have an idea of cost per lead for your LinkedIn cold email marketing? And also a second question, how much of a monthly budget minimum do you advise?
Oh, yeah, it just depends on your goals as far as the budget goes. I am currently in an era where I just want to try everything and see what sticks. So like once a month, I'm like, oh, this will work. Let's take this away. That didn't work. We've tried this for 90 days and we've gotten 5 leads and 0 capital raise. So how about we cut that out? I don't really know the numbers for most of these things. So I think collectively we're spending about 6 grand a month, not including salary for my marketing manager or my investor relations person. It really depends on how much you want to raise. Right now, our goals are raise $10 million and pay a 10%. We just launched this. It's an income fund. And the reason why we're doing an income fund and it's not asset loyalty based, it's so you can invest in this asset class. The reason we're doing that is because we're in a market where we were just chatting about it. Is storage going to be the next hot thing? Apartments going to start taking short sales so we make a really good return. I'm only loyal to the return I can get. If that means I have to go buy 1,500 acres and divide it up and sell 1,500-acre parcels, then I'll do that. I'll seller finance it, and then we'll sell those notes, that sort of thing. But right now, we're raising 10 million bucks, paying a 10% coupon every year, and that's it. So if we make 30%, we get to keep 20%, but they are getting paid every month 10%. So right now, everyone got obliterated a couple of weeks ago in the stock market because of the tariffs. We would still be paying 10% to those. And then we are just, like I said, we're investing in hard money loans, we're investing in land entitlement, residential stuff, easy, very predictable cash flow and return streams. And I don't feel like I answered the question correctly, but I started that to get to a point of the answer to the question. What was the question again?
Yeah, the question is more of your cost per lead.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so because of that, honestly, I've stopped thinking like, how do we fund this storage facility or apartment complex? I think I've moved to like, how do we give investors what they're wanting, which is a safe return where they don't have to think about their money. The money comes in every month. How do we do that? And so when it comes to, we don't really have a cost per lead. We're just thinking, let's just talk to as many people as possible and see what the conversion is after 6 months.
So it's pretty much a debt fund, is that correct? Like they don't get any equity, any upside or anything like that. It's just a
Right.
straight 10%.
Yeah, the debt and income fund are synonymous, but one typically only invests in debt, and the other one invests in income producing assets.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Okay,
yes,
good
you're
to know.
correct. The most they'll ever make is 10%. The least they'll ever make is 10% on their money. And then they can get
I
their money
see.
back after 18 months.
Okay, and you're paying them the first distribution like month one, is that correct?
Yeah,
Like
within
the
30 days. If you invest before the 15th, you get a check that next 15th. If it's after the 15th, you'll wait 2 15s.
I
It'll be
see.
like 60 days. But
And then how big of a fund are you setting this up for?
this will be
$10 million fund.
and we
Very
just
good.
launched it last week.
Okay, very good. Very cool. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Travis, I think that was really impressive to see you take that adjustment. I was offering really high returns, thinking that's what investors wanted. And I realized actually when you talk to investors that they actually just want security and consistency and reliability. I was fortunate that I took the route of leading investor relations at two different private equity firms before I split off and started my own firm to learn raising capital. But to all those in the audience, I would encourage you just to watch webinars of people that have built big real estate private equity firms, and you'll see how they pitch, you'll see how they present. And a lot of them focus on the psychology of what you're talking about, just to add value to the group. I also think that we talk in equity multiple, preferred return, all this. A doctor, a lawyer, engineer, high wealth person doesn't care about that stuff as much. They just want to know what they get, when they get it, and how secure it's going to be. But Travis, to the self-storage questions, I've looked at redeveloping self-storage. I predominantly am in multifamily and hotels. I've looked at self-storage, mostly buying existing and redeveloping it. But the one thing that I can't get an understanding on is how much a market can absorb the number of units. So if someone will buy a plot of land and build more, how do I know that I have a moat and it's not going to reduce my occupancy and the premium that new development or storage gets?
Sure. Yeah, that's super hard. Honestly, it's a moving target depending on the market. For instance, Toledo, Ohio it's a overly saturated market and it only has 4 square feet per capita, but most of the facilities are like not doing well, like 20, 30% vacancy. Oklahoma City, I have a very big facility in Oklahoma City. I thought it was oversaturated. It's full. It's like I bought it and then I just found out like in my research, I missed 2 facilities. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. And it's not an issue. So I think when it comes to the per capita number, that's a good number to follow. It should only influence your decision about 2 to 5%. A better way to do it is just call every storage facility in that market or within a 5 mile radius and see if they're full. If they're, hey, what if you're not full, what are you like almost full? And you just secret shop. You can honestly be like, it's a pretty chill industry. You can actually tell them, it's like, hey, I'm a developer. I'm thinking about building one. Are you guys full? And sometimes you'll get hung up on, but most of the time they'll tell you. So I don't like lying and saying, hey, I'm just looking to get a unit here. You know, like doing that and some up front. But yeah, that's a challenging one because we have one in a market in Texas, like a secondary market, a college university market, several universities, and I thought it would crush, and it's not doing well. And so it's a hit or miss, but ultimately, if you add time, like if you add time to any real estate, it tends to work out. If you add time to storage, it always works out because you're going to have more people move into that town. You're going to have more people need storage over time. And like, for instance, like during COVID, every storage facility in America was full. Just
Mhm.
made it look like there was all this demand. So all the developers started building brand new facilities. All those facilities have been 20, 30, 40% full for 3 years. And those developers aren't having a good day. I guarantee you that. And so it really depends. And it's a moving target, which I think keeps a lot of people out of self-storage for a long time. So they might get in it, but they might get out of it because it's so hard to underwrite the facilities.
I really value that. I've looked a little bit more at specialized storage. So whether it's boat, car, kind of truck bays, just because I think it's a little bit more niche, a little bit more in demand.
Yeah.
But I value what you said. I came from more of an institutional and analytical background, but I'll tell you the way I bought my hotel, I sat in the parking lot after I saw the numbers. I counted month after month while I was in due diligence just to see how many cars were there, how many cars
Nice.
showed up every single day, just to see that the numbers were true and not falsified. So really value that feedback. Thanks for everything.
Sure, man.
Anyone else have questions? All right. I don't see any more questions. Travis, thank you so much for doing this interview with us today and answering everybody's questions. Do you have some time you want to join in on the breakout sessions?
Sure. And just to answer whoever asked about Tim Harridge, yeah, Tim's a good buddy of mine.
Oh,
So sorry. I don't know if that was to me or
yeah.
not,
Yeah, no, that's good. All
but
right,
yeah,
very good. Yeah.
I can do the breakout sessions. That's fine.
Okay, let's do this real quick before we put you guys into your breakout sessions. Let's take a group picture with Travis real quick. Guys, turn on your cameras. Everyone turn on your cameras. Remove spotlight as well so we can see everybody's pictures here. Alrighty. All right, everyone. Let's show Travis how our pose here for our show. We flex, Travis. Yeah, there you go. Look at them guns. All right, you guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Yay. All right.